I met Joel when I walked into the City Hall of Savage when I first moved here. Stopped in to talk to Joel and figure out what Savage had to offer. He was very exciting and energetic about having someone with some experience around, so I was excited like I was gonna get hired that day. And then he told me just wait for the applications to open up, which was like 6 to 8 months later. So that was how I first met Joel.
I have known Joel for 30 plus years. We met when I got on the department in '87. So
I would say I've known Joel for 30 years. I started with Prior Lake Fire Department in 1990, and I met him shortly thereafter.
Oh, I met Joel probably even well before I even came to work with the fire department, probably back in the early '80s.
Joel and I both grew up in the old part of Savage, and so his family knew my family.
Really got to know him the past 8 years since I've been the fire chief at Burnsville. Joel's an early riser, so it's always about breakfast. So I remember going out to breakfast with him at Perkins and Savage shortly after I got hired as the fire chief.
I don't remember the year. We were on a house fire. Joel had gone down with the crew into the basement, and somehow he fell off the stairwell. I was the fire chief at the time, and it didn't take me long to figure out who it was, so that adds a new element when you're the chief. Now it's your brother. So everything stops, and it just so happens that somehow, you know, miraculously he kept his head and he found a small basement window, one of them real small little windows that nobody can fit out of. Somehow Joel had, I believe, smashed his helmet through the window, and there was a guy out back. Somehow he reached in and pulled Joel out through a window that you're not supposed to fit out of.
Oh, there's a lot to love about Joel. You always know what's on his mind. There's never there's no filter there.
He used to have, well, let's just say a few episodes once in a while, and he would have some, well, I don't know if you really call it late night or early morning emails that would go out just to update the guys on new rule changes, let's just say.
I'm trying to think of good stories about Joel, but that would be appropriate to tell, which goes as testament. He always toes the line. My favorite stories are the fact that Joel has a very fine way of being brash to people without offending them. We had a call downtown where the power went out, and this lady was concerned about this like 3-foot bird, and Joel replies, "The temperature isn't going to drop low enough that you should have time. If anything, you could take them into your car or take them to someplace." And she said, "Well, that might cause a few more issues than if we just left them, so we'll just go." And he said, "Well, if it goes too long, what time should we come back for supper?" And she's like, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Well, if it goes too long, we could always cook the bird for dinner and I'll stop by to try it." So there's millions of those stories too.
I think one of the memorable stories I have in my mind is a fire we had on the west side of town, right on the Savage-Burnsville border, and Joel responded because we called Savage for mutual aid, and I remember pulling up to the fire scene and Joel's around the corner and didn't want to take command of the situation, so he waited around the corner until I got there, so he followed me in even though he was there a minute or two before me, and he came up laughing of, "You think I'm crazy? I wouldn't come take control of your scene. This is your city. I'll let you take it." So, what do you need? I'm here to help.
There was a townhouse fire just north of County Road 42, and it was in the middle of the winter, and we were called mutual aid. And I think just for fun, there was no shortage of manpower at that fire, and there was some pets that were involved in the fire, and Joel called me in to try to resuscitate some of those animals. So just looking on that, we have to be careful on how we talk about that, but it's something that still comes up from time to time.
Words of advice he gave me young in my career. I was complaining about my wife's purse that she just purchased, and he looked at me, sat me down and said, "I'm going to tell you something that's going to help you the rest of your life. Don't care about what she buys. Buy her nice things, let her buy those nice things, and you'll be a lot happier man." And I have to say, that's a very successful story from you.
Back before we both had kids that required all our time, we used to golf every Sunday. And golfing with Joe on Sunday was quite the riot. And I can remember him standing a foot away from a tree saying, yep, I can swing and hit this golf ball and all will be good, and watching his club head fly down the fairway because he hit the tree and wrapped his club around the tree. Hopefully when he retires we can get back to that.
What makes Joel unique is his passion for this city. It's unlike any other person I've ever met. He gives everything to the city and his job and his firefighters.
You know, the guy will give you the shirt off his back. He's the kindest guy you'll ever see. He is 100% into this profession, day and night. You can call him anytime. He's always available.
He extremely cares what goes on in this community.
How much he gives to other people that he knows. There's a joke around my house, we don't call 911, or at least my wife doesn't call 911. We dial Joe up, and so that shows you what type of guy he is, that he'll drop whatever he's doing to come help someone.
His compassion, I mean, he loves these guys. You know, I know it's probably a tough decision for him to leave. The guys were important to him, and he used to do a lot of things for the guys, for this department, and he has ever since I've known him, when I first got on back in the late 80s.
He always kept his name out of it. Wanted to make sure everybody got the attaboys, but he never took attaboys for it. So.
For many years, we joked that he didn't leave the city limits, and I think that's fairly accurate. And that's because he gave everything to this department. So when you talk about leading by example, that's what Joel did around here. He was up here every weekend. He was here late at night. It didn't matter when the call was, he was always available.
So it's just that kind of caring for the department. He wanted to be part of it, and he put everything into it.
Going on vacation, all his vacations started Wednesday and had to be back by Monday because he would never want to miss training on Tuesday nights.
He has such institutional knowledge and has been around the block so much, both not only as a fire chief but as a citizen and a part of that city for so many years. And Joel's, you know, a great blue collar guy that's never above anybody and is willing to roll up his sleeves and get things done and cares so much. Things never stop. Joel's 100% in, and he cares about that city and wants to make sure the citizens are taken care of. And there is no doubt that he is committed to that city and has so much respect and commitment. It's unbelievable. I mean, the city really has a gem, and he has shown that for over 30 years to that organization.
So I think that's going to be his legacy, just the way he was able to keep this department moving forward. And I think a lot of the things he put in place now are going to be there for a long time to come, even after he's gone.
The other legacy that I think Joel will leave is just having fun with his job. He showed us how truly he cared about all the firefighters, but he still made it enjoyable to work here. So even on bad days when we would have long late night fire calls, he always had a cigarette in his mouth and a smile on his face.
We're starting in here, and we're gonna watch it go.
Joel, it's been great to know you personally, professionally. I appreciate our friendship and being a great colleague. You've given a lot to this profession. You don't give yourself nearly enough credit. I wish you and Patty a happy, healthy retirement, and thanks for all you've done for Savage and Burnsville and the Minnesota Fire Service. You're a great leader, and I appreciate everything you've done for me and for our department.
Just take it easy, Joe, and slow down. On April 20th, grab yourself a cup of coffee out of the kitchen, not a quick trip, and go sit on the deck and enjoy the nature in your backyard. And then after that, take Patty out to dinner for a nice big dinner. Have a good time.
Joel, I want to thank you for all the leadership you've provided me. I was fortunate enough to work this last year with you, which has been not only informative for me, learning about the history of the city, the history of the fire department, but is going to help me long into my career. So I wish you nothing but success in your retirement. I hope you enjoy your time with your family, get to go see the world like you've always wanted to, leave these city limits.
Any words of advice for retirement? First off, don't worry about it. A lot of people go into this worrying about they're going to have enough to do. You can stay as busy as you want to be, and I'd advise him to go out and buy a brand new boat. He's earned that. and I would like to pass on to him. I hope to see him after he retires. I know his brother Al has a place up where we live near Duluth, so I'm looking forward to seeing him more frequently up there. And just go into this, enjoy it. You won't regret it.
Joel, I'm happy to see you retiring, and you deserve it. You've earned it. As you go forward, spend more time with your wife Patty as you travel. Visit with the grandkids. Get back to the hobbies you had before you became chief, because when you became chief, your fishing and your golfing and everything kind of went by the wayside, because chief was first and city was first before your hobby. So hopefully, now that you're retired, you can get back to the things you enjoy.
Chief, number one, congratulations on a great career. You did a phenomenal job. And I just want you to understand I've got a few years ahead of you in this retirement gig, so I kind of got it all dialed in for you. But don't forget, I still got that open seat in the back of the boat. Looking forward to seeing you back there.
Long overdue. Enjoy it. It's going to be tough at first. Come back and visit the guys. It's a little different when you do come back when you're not an actual member anymore. I can tell you that. It's been a difficult transition for me. But you'll do it. You're going to enjoy it. You and Patty are going to have a lot of fun. You're going to be able to do some of that long overdue traveling you've been able to do, and it's well deserved. Enjoy, my friend.